Hello friends, this video is our EAA Chapter 280 August meeting for 2016. The hamburgers and the aviation fellowship was great, as always. So sit back with your favorite beverage, relax, and enjoy the meeting.
Okay, we're going to try to get out of here pretty quickly. It's awfully warm. We got a lot of things to go through. First of all, let me tell you, I went to San Antonio last Monday and had a great time. There is a museum down there that has two locations now. One is in West Texas, one is in San Antonio. There used to be one in the valley. The museum is pretty interesting. If you ever get a chance to go down there, it's on the south side of San Antonio to see the Sphinx Acro Master. We've talked about the Acro Master before. There's the old stamp with Acro Master on the wall. Here she is, Sphinx Acro Master. That was the one that Charlie flew to third place in the World Championships in 1971, I think. So take a look at that, pass that around. The cameraman says let him photograph it, okay? All right, there we go. It's at the Stinson Airport, which is a general use airport, so you can fly down there. They're open most days of the week. Good to drop in. They want a few dollars to help support the place, but some real unusual airplanes and a nice place to see.
Bob Branson, that used to be where we met at his farm, he ended up flying Acro Master. How come him to do it? He tore up one of Pappy's airplanes in the air. It was called Peyton Pole. So Bob told me he'd come back over the next day because he thought, well, I'm going to have to pay Pappy for that airplane. And Pappy told him, said, your airplane's waiting on you. And he said, what? It was the Acro Master. Pappy said, guarantee you won't tear that airplane up to do anything you want to do.
I was kind of the last one to the party. When I got back, I told Mark, I said, you know that thing was made out of all metal? There's a little bit of fabric. And he said, yes, I thought it was a wood wing, typical of the laser and so on. It's not, and the man is completely willing to let me have the airplane. It's just that he says when the airplane moves, there's a big spot right there where there needs to be an airplane, so you get me an airplane to put there, you can have the Acro Master. He very much wants the Acro Master to come back to Sphinx and be in Pappy's old museum hangar, and it could be flown. It's not flyable now, there's no engine in it, but real interesting, and hopefully the Acro Master will show up here. I wanted to show you one other thing. There was a Peyton Pole down there. Matter of fact, I asked him if he'd trade a Peyton Pole. He said, no, I already got one of those. This is what you see from an old crop duster that smelled too much chemical in his life, I think. This is done as a German airplane. I want you to look at the registration up here where or the markings. It shows how many airplanes this German Peyton Pole, it's done as a German fighter. He got 3 British, he got 4 French, he shot down 3 Snoopies, and he goes, oops, he shot down 2 Germans. He got his own guys. So take a look at that. And here is cool Avro triplane. And by the way, if you know about Swearingen, that did a lot of speed mods and was building the private jet, and I don't know whatever happened to the Swearingen. I think they sold it to somebody. This is one of Swearingen's old hangars that they are in. So it's a good place to drop by. We're glad that he's very willing to let us have the Acro Master. And by the way, they're after my own heart. You know we love Peyton Poles around here, and we've got them in all sizes. They got a beautiful little Peyton Pole model there. That's cute. It's in front of their Peyton Pole. Now, let me tell you quickly what they had told us about the airport. The firehouse is on the way. It's going to be over here in the corner. It will be for this area of town, plus it'll be right here on the airport to service the airport. And as far as keeping Pappy's building down there, I was very concerned about that. The plans are that the hangar over here will get its final construction notice permit in the next week or so. They will start a hangar here. They want to build hangars all down the side of this pad. The next place they'll build is down where the big old maintenance hangar is, and they wanted to service the pad with that hangar. So the hangar is going to have to be up about 5 feet from where that hangar is down there, and he says they will do landfill. and they will service this ramp with it. After that's done, they've got more places over there, and you may have heard, I think we had the manager in here that explained it, or maybe Harry did. They want to put a 200-foot pad at the end of the sod runway. It would take off 200 feet of the sod runway, but so what? We still got 3,800 feet left, and I've never used more than about 800 of it anyway. But they want to put a pad there, and then a taxiway that would go on the other side of cliffs, so that they could get big airplanes over to the paint shop. The problem is, it is in a floodplain, and all those old T-hangars built down on the south end were built illegally, and
I built one of them.
You crook, you lawbreaker, you'd never think Pappy would do anything illegal, would you? But anyway, they were built illegally, and they are gone. And they're never going to be replaced. That floodplain wanders back up from the back line and over towards the back of Cliff's hangar. And it comes to the point they're afraid they're not going to be able to put in the taxiway. They've got calls in to the Corps of Engineers to come back out and try to work out a deal with them, because the floodplain comes up just to the edge of the taxiway. So they may get that through, but that does away with any hangars built down there south of Cliffs. That's going to be a big grassy area from now on. So that's the progress, and the last thing they would ever do is Pappy's hangar, his old museum hangar. So it looks like that hangar is safe for a long time, and I think with activity in there, getting it redone, it would probably be an asset, and they would say, okay, you can keep it. We got several things that are going on. The National National Antique Fly-In is the end of this month up in Idaho. I've been. Iowa, I'm sorry. His airplane has been. I took it up there. Great place, and will be a good fly-in. You want to go. And by the way, this, I pointed out to you that the Peyton Pole is nearly 100 years old. It's actually 88 years old. In 2 years, the Peyton Pole design will be 90 years old. There will be a lot of celebrations, and what I'm proposing is that 4 people fly those 2 Peyton Poles up to Broadhead in 2 years. Hopefully we can do that. Now, let me show you. I'm trying to work on one. I don't know what the guy had mounted in the front of that airplane, but it was big, it was heavy. I pulled all that out. I'm making rudder pedals now so we can get the front cockpit in, because that's the idea. I want people to be able to fly, but I had a little bit of a registration problem. It died. We're trying to get that worked out and get that done. The IRS still has not quite approved the museum, but they're talking to me. I've got to talk to them next week and submit some other things. So hopefully we get that done before too long. Also, down at Pappy's building, and Matt is going to run down there and open the building for us right after we're done. The first airplane was hung down there. Now, it doesn't have the wings on it, but it's hung next to the wall. It's the little ultralight glider that I had up here, so if you want to run down there and see it. Plus, we have 2 more airplanes. Our old buddy Clyde here called me and said, you know what, I don't think I'm ever going to finish the Zenith. Would you come get it? So, round of applause for Clyde. He also gave me this, GBs. I love GBs, so that's going to be in there too. But Clyde gave us the airplane. It's got a Corvair engine on it. You can go down there. It's very tight, but you can weave around in between the airplanes. And of course, the incredible Miranda is down there that we got a month or 2 ago. If you haven't seen that, go take a look at it. And
that's the card that you sent me of the plans.
How about that? Chris Hines, yeah, this is Chris Hines sent this card. That'll be good. We'll put that out with the airplane.
$760.19.
Okay, that's what we got. He said I forgot to do it. Okay, we've got that. Now also, we had a meeting with several people. We're going to try to have a fly-in next spring, probably by the end of April. Ben over here, round of applause for Ben. Ben is a great advisor on this, so we had a meeting and I had him tell me what he thought we ought to do. Used to, chapter 670, 280, and 34 participated on several things. Anybody ever been to those fly-ins that were out at Ben's Airport? Anybody? those were good. And I said something to Ben about you had at least 50 airplanes out there, didn't you? And he said, oh yeah, so probably more than 50.
About 60.
So 60. Okay, Jim was the air boss out there. So we're going to have a fly-in. The manager said we could use this ramp. We can use that area down there. The ramp in front of the paint building is leased to the paint building, but he said if they say okay, then fine, we can use it. We've got all the grass behind cliffs. We will have campers. It'll be a Friday afternoon, all day Saturday, and everybody takes off Saturday. So that's what we're planning on for this spring. So we're looking forward to a good fly-in, have a good time. It'll be a thing where there's no landing fee. Just come have a good time. Mark may make hamburgers. We'll have to see. Okay, we got another thing going on. Where'd it go? Where's my let me show you these. Get these out of the way. This is, you remember the beautiful tailwind that was here last time? If you didn't see it, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. This is the cover of Sportsman Pilot. I had them sign it. That'll go up on the wall. What I'm trying to do is get any pictures of visiting airplanes that are on magazines and so on, and we will, there you go. There we are, right there. Okay. That will go up on the wall. Trying to have those now. Some of you remember, perhaps, let's do John's first. This is a 16-year-old cover page of the Star Telegram. This is John Mcguire. Of course, everybody probably knows about John. He crashed in his pits back over here at Luck and broke his back in 27 places, wasn't it, Mark? He just wadded up his spine. So John is never going to walk again, but he goes real fast in a wheelchair. I guarantee you, better stay out of the way. It took a long time, but he got back into the air, and that's Bevo Howard's old Cub, Charlie Hillard's old Cub. This is taken in the door of the next hangar. That was back when Mark and all the pits guys were over there. There were, I think, 9 pits in that hangar at one time. It was one of the coolest places you've ever seen. There were wings being built, fuselages being built. It was really good, and there's an interesting shot here of the Cub going straight up, or flying overhead inverted or something. I asked John how they did that, and what he did was make a high-speed approach to the grass runway, and then just past the threshold, he would pull vertical, and the photographer was standing out there by the runway and would get the shot. But I've had this for quite a while. I've got to go out to John's place at Arresti. That Cub doesn't fly now, has not flown in a while, but he's working on it and wants to fly again. He was real hard-headed. The FAA did not want him to fly again, and he beat him about the head forever. It's a 2-stick airplane where he has a left stick that is also a rudder stick. He can move that stick back and forward, and the brakes work by shoving the stick forward. And of course, he's an aerobatic guy, so the throttle only has 2 positions. It's either off or full forward. So he really doesn't have to use the left hand much for the throttle. So there you go, pass that one around. This is, I put this here. Yeah, I knew you'd be interested in that, wouldn't you?
I have
This,
one.
when I was about 12 or 13 years old, I went to a model airplane contest in Oklahoma City. There were 3 airplanes that landed during the model airplane contest, and one of them was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. It's this red and white one, the Spezio 2-holder. That's the original that I saw. And what stunned me was these guys built the airplane. Can you imagine? They built the airplanes themselves, and I was headed off on EAA at that point. And I found this old model cover with the original Spezio on it. By the way, Spezio, I don't know how old he is now, but that original airplane was for sale a few years ago. I called the man and asked him about it, and he said, yeah, the Spezio is still alive. And Jim has a Spezio, by the way, that he just mentioned. He said Tony comes out to Arizona or wherever it is once a year to fish, and the man that owns the original takes him out to a lake and lets him camp. But that was a great looking little airplane. They never built a whole lot of them, but it was a neat little machine. I want you to see, I don't have one of the new EAA magazines, but in the EAA magazine, there's a great section now that is the Experimenter. Years ago, the Experimenter was a separate magazine. Now you take these old goats like Mark and me, we for a long time did not like the EAA magazine that much because it got to where it was 300-mile-an-hour home builds and autopilots and all that stuff that you could buy, and we just didn't like that much. It didn't have the real home building stuff. They came out with the Experimenter. It went away for a while. Now, for how long, Mark? 6 months?
Yeah.
Probably about 6 months. The Experimenter is in the EAA Magazine. So that makes the EAA Magazine something that I enjoy very much now. It's got the new stuff. If you want to go 300 miles an hour, it's got the old stuff, building an airplane. What I want you to see, here's some really old sport aviations, and I want you to see how much the magazine has changed. Let's see, this is a 59, so you guys take a look at those. You can see we have a much more impressive magazine now. Also, kit planes. Somebody brought kit planes up here. I have not looked at kit planes for a while. I remember it used to be a nice magazine. This magazine is really good now. It has great articles, technical articles if you like that, just great build articles, it looks like. And also, we have, where are you? Oh, there he is, John Abel back there. Round of applause for John Abel. Okay. Now, we also have, who else is from 670? Put your hand. Oh, that Acro, boy, that's good. We like having, we got 3 meetings we can go to if we like the EAA. John came up to me after the last meeting at 670 where I talked about the museum and what we're doing, and he said, "You still take airplanes?" And I said, "You bet. What have you got?" And he said, "EAA biplane." And so I said, "Yes, sir." And we were there in, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. This is an old article, 2003, that shows an EAA biplane that was rebuilt. So just want to take a look at that and see what an EAA biplane looks like. How long did you have it, John?
About 3 years.
3 years. And tell me if I get this story right. As John told me, 2 men owned it, and one of them got mad at the other, and he took it in the hangar and took it apart, cut the covering off, took the engine off, took the engine apart. Ticked off at the other guy for some. Hey, I don't know. I'm not going to do it. But anyway, the airplane really does not need rebuilding. It just needs to be cleaned up, re-epoxy primed, cover it, and it would be a cute little airplane. It's great because it's the EAA biplane. If you don't remember that one much, it was an early one that Poe Beresny worked on, so it was a great little biplane, and we got that one now. Now, we have the, well, let me say, we got 2, this is good. We're starting to have some more things happen. We have Sean, that's right. Sean is a guy that's crazy. He flies when you cannot see the ground. That's called instrument flying. Anybody can fly when you can't see the ground? I don't know. If I can't look out and see the coyote 20 feet below me that I just went over, it kind of worries me. But Sean wants to start an IMC Club. Tell us what that is.
Basically, IMC Club was recently bought by EAA, so now it's a kind of a sub-club like IAC under EAA. What it is for instrument pilots, student pilots, past instrument pilots, and it's a scenario-based monthly meeting. So these are all kind of situations, that are canned by the IMC Club. So we'll have a meeting, we'll have a video, show a scenario, and then talk about it. They don't give you any answers. We have a CFII present to make sure we don't give you crazy answers. And then at the end, it has kind of what you should have done.
Guess who's a CFII?
So it talks about the legal aspects, the safety aspects, all that kind of stuff. But it's just a good way to get together and talk about different things, especially being here in the Bravo airspace. There's a lot of different stuff as, we have to deal with the ATC and things are changing. So if anybody's interested, you'll track me down afterwards. I'll get your email, and as we get this thing set up, we'll keep you in the loop and hopefully get this thing started here in a couple months.
Okay,
Thank you.
tell you what. Yeah, give him a hand. If you are interested in the instrument club, we're going to take a few minutes when we break here to look at the airplanes. If you want to go down to the other hangar and see the little sailplane hanging, Matt's going to go down there and open the back door so everybody can get in easily and take a look at what's down there, all the projects. By the way, you guys from the aerobatic club, or the aerobatic school and 6 we have the fuselage of the Dormoy flying bathtub is down there. It's made out of about 3 pieces of tubing, and you'd think, no, I'm not going to get in it. But that one we will never fly. At least I'm never going to fly. When we get it redone, it will hang. The wing is in here in the far room hanging. But you can all go down there and take a look, and then if you're interested in this club, come back up here and Sean can talk to you and get things going. Now, we have another thing, and I love that. Another club within the club. Isn't that cool? Another one, Matt back here, wants to start a flying club. And you know that a chapter cannot own a flying airplane. And you have to have a separate club that's a pure flying club. Matt wants to start a flying club. And what I'm suggesting is he wants to maybe even build an airplane. I'm suggesting that the club build an airplane that will cruise at least 280, carry 6 people, land at 35 miles an hour, use 2.8 gallons an hour, and cost no more than $10,000. We might have several of those. But there's a great article in the EAA Magazine about a club airplane, and they're trying to go for light sport. And let me say this, I called EAA yesterday morning. I said, I need to know exactly what the status of this law is about the Pilot's Bill of Rights 2. It passed, the President signed it. The way the legislation was done is that Congress asked the FAA to act on it within 6 months. If they don't, they're breaking the law, which really doesn't break their heart, I'm sure. The guy from the EAA said, yeah, you know how much force that's going to have. They're asked to work to reply on that law in 6 months. If they don't, and it gets strung out within at 1 year mark, the law goes into effect, period. The FAA doesn't have anything to say about it. Now, I'm sure the FAA will have something to say, and it will take them longer than 6 months, but if they don't like it, they can't change it. They have to go back to Congress, because he said it was written very specifically and very pointedly about some different things that concern that law. So it sounds pretty good to me, and it may be a year, maybe not. Maybe the FAA would have a big spot in their heart, but and get it done within 6 months, but maybe not. But that's the status of the law. Yeah.
If they don't make the decision in 6 months and we fly, there will be no action taken against them.
Okay. Good.